Hey guys, Redneck Mini 14 here, and today I'm just going to do a quick disassembly and reassembly video of the Mossberg 500. So let's get to it. Alright guys, now the first thing you're going to want to do is check, make sure it's unloaded, and of course it is, nothing in the chamber, nothing in the tube. Alright, and we're going to put it on about halfway. We're going to make sure it's on safe, which it is. And first thing we're going to do is take off the barrel. Just unscrew the little barrel nut and pull it off. We're going to set this up here. Alright, next thing we're going to do. We are going to punch out this little pin here. Right here. And you probably should be using a brass punch or something, but I'm using an Allen wrench. And you just apply a little force, and it comes right out. Just set that aside, and you're going to pull your trigger group out. Set that aside. Now there are two little arms in here that they're what keep the shells in place when you push them into the tube. Of course, it's going to be stubborn. There we go. Alright, so the skinnier one goes up against the side with the ejection port, and the fatter one goes on the opposite side. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to, well, you could do it that way, but you just line up the bolt carrier with these cutouts in the receiver, and you pull it out. And from there you can take your fore-end assembly off. You don't have to take it out, but you can. You pull up on this thing and you just push your bolt out the front, and then you can pull your shell lifter out by just pulling up here, squeezing together, and pulling it out. And now your shotgun is disassembled. Now this is as far down as you need to go in order to clean it. If you want to change out your mag follower or your mag spring, this is Loctited in here, so you're going to want to heat this up or put it in some sort of a solution to loosen up the Loctite and pull this off. And make sure that you're careful, because this is going to be under spring tension. So anyway, the disassembly for pretty much any Mossberg pump action shotgun is the same. So the 590, the 535, the Maverick 88, the 510, the 505, the 838, they're all the same. There is one difference with the 590 and the 835, and that's going to be in the taking off the barrel. It's a little bit different, but basically all the internals are the same. Alright, now reassembly is basically the opposite of disassembly. So first thing you're going to want to do, you're going to take your shell lifter, you're going to put it back in. There's a couple little holes in here that they go in. And they just go in like that, and make sure that it's flush with the bottom of the receiver to make room for the bolt. Now when you push the bolt in, you want to make sure that the locking lug is pushed in. That way it gets past the part where the barrel pushes up against. And you're just going to push this in. You're going to make sure there's a little groove in the bolt for the ejector. You're going to make sure that the ejector goes into that little groove, which is, it's not hard to do. Alright, so now you're going to want to push the shell lifter all the way down, take your 4-end assembly, put it on the tube, and you got to push the little arms down all the way to get them into the holes, and they're going to go in a little ways, and then you're going to want to push down even more to get them to go past. This is somewhat tricky, but it's not really that tricky. Alright, now you're going to want to line everything up with these cuts in the receiver where the trigger group goes, because this is where you're going to drop in your bolt carrier. And of course you want to make sure that this end here goes into the bolt, and you're going to drop it in front first. And now this part here gets kind of tricky because you got to kind of feel around and make sure that everything's lined up, because there's a couple cuts in the forearm action arms, whatever you want to call them, and that's where the bolt carrier goes. And once you get it into place, you're going to want to kind of push down and pull the whole action forward. And now you're going to want to put these little arms in. Again, the fatter end goes on the side opposite of the ejection port, and the skinny end goes on the end of the ejection port. If I said that right the first time, oh well. And there's a little hole in the receiver that the skinnier one goes into. If I can find the peg, there it is. Alright, now you just make sure that those two are pushed in. You might want to keep your fingers on them. And you put your trigger group in by putting the front end first and then rocking it back. Sometimes it'll get snagged on those two little arms, so you're gonna have to push them in, and sometimes it'll push them down. Alright, now that it's in, just take your pin, push that in, and of course we're going to put the barrel back on, so you want to open the action about halfway. And you want it open only about halfway, because the fatter end of the barrel will get caught on the fore end, so it gets a little tough. And then you just want to tighten your little nut. And now we have a complete shotgun again. So you want to test everything, make sure it works. Well, pull the trigger while it's on safe, it doesn't fire. Pull it when it's off safe, so it does fire. Rack the slide, and everything works. So that's disassembly and reassembly of the Mossberg 500. Like I said, the procedure is basically the same for all Mossberg pump actions, at least the ones that are on the market today. Alright, and I hope that helps when you go to disassemble your Mossberg 500. That's all I really had for today, so subscribe to my channel, like me on Facebook. I'm Redneck Mini 14, and until next time, be safe.